Hey everyone, Justin Holland here with the Mad Insurance Show, making a difference in insurance. Another great show for you today. Just a quick announcement: we don't have a nonprofit showcase on today's show, but I've got an exceptional carrier partner that's actually going to join us, and we're going to have a good conversation about his background, what his company is doing right now for the industry, and then we're going to go on a little venting session on some current events and news as always, and talk about the industry off of that. But if you're first time listener to the show and you're scooting around San Antonio, listening to us on 550 KTSA over the weekend, or you might be on our YouTube channel trying to watch our podcasts and our updates online, make sure you go to the YouTube channel at youtube.com/at Mad Insurance Show. We've got every episode on there. We'll have those updated for you. We'll probably start putting some small clips on there as well. But just in case you want to see other topics and scenarios that we've discussed during the show, remember it's everything insurance. I created this Mad Insurance Show to talk about health insurance, employee benefits, Medicare, life insurance, long term care, auto, home, and commercial lines. Everything insurance. It's no holds bar on the Mad Insurance Show, making a difference in insurance. A little background: I'm your host, Justin Holland. I've got an agency called Texas State Insurance Services here in San Antonio. Four locations, four in San Antonio and one in McAllen, servicing the South Texas area. Texas State Insurance Services, just think of individual health, like ACA plans, individual coverage for those alternatives when you need a more affordable option, or Medicare plans and employee benefits. Anything like that that you need help with, give us a call. 210-880-5316 is the direct office line number, or you can visit us online at txstateinsurance.com. And then our other agency is Palmetto Life Group. Palmetto Life Group, just think of life insurance, long-term care assistance, social security analysis as it relates to your retirement as well, and retirement options. We're helping out quite a few people, and they're going hand in hand with that. And as always, a reminder: auto, home, and commercial lines of business. We are saving some people some significant money by engaging that part of the industry. So if you're wanting a quote, wanting some options, give us a call at 877-357-5316 or visit us at palmettolifegroup.com. So with that out of the way, a little background on the show for our first time listeners or repeat listeners, I want to dive in to the guest that I've got on today's show. So as you know, if you've been watching or listening to the show, we talk a lot about Medicare and other products. This gentleman actually helps us and supports us with multiple lines in the insurance industry. And we'll probably dial into some of that as it relates to their company and the industry news. But I've got Robert Davis with Physicians Mutual, and we're going to kick the show off with a conversation with him. Robert, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, Justin, thanks for letting me come on today. I'm excited.
You got it, man. I'm excited about this too because I think we're going to be building a really good relationship with you guys. Before the show, we were talking about kind of some background where we can help each other out,
Yeah.
and I see exceptional value in Physicians Mutual, and I'm excited to see how that's going to resonate with the listeners that we're reaching, as well as our existing clients
Yeah.
that we talk to every year during enrollment periods. But without further ado, let's kind of go over the hit list of questions that I've got for you
Yeah.
that I want to talk about. And let's start off with Robert. Walk us through your background. You're with Physicians Mutual now, but I'd love for my listeners just a little bit know about your history and background, and then we'll kick off with that.
Yeah. Awesome. So, again, my name is Robert Davis. I've been in the Texas area for coming up close to 30 years. I tell people I wasn't born here, but I got here as soon as I could.
Yeah.
And so, what's interesting is, as someone that has been in Texas for 35 years, when I moved into my working years, it was, what do I do? And it was either go to law school or get married and join the insurance industry. And I got married to my now bride, Marisa Davis. We have 4 little kids, so it's a busy household.
Awesome.
But coming to the insurance industry was so exciting because it gave me the ability to do 2 things. Number 1, have a career that was gonna be there for me long term, but also have a career where I could help people, right? I think that's a huge driver for anyone getting into this space. People you sit down with that are your agents or brokers, they're there to help you because they care about you. And Physicians Mutual called me about 5 years ago. I took a short stint outside of Texas. I went to Little Rock, Arkansas.
Remember you mentioned that, yeah.
Yeah, and Physicians Mutual called, and they said there's an opportunity to come back to Texas. Um, and we found out that same week that I got the job offer, we found out we're having baby number 3. So it was like, this is a
It's
message.
good timing.
Let's come back. And been with Physicians Mutual for 5 years.
Okay.
We've made a lot of changes over the past 5 years. Initially, when I joined Physicians Mutual, we were more of a captive operation, meaning that we had agents that only sold Physicians Mutual. Then
I
about
didn't realize that.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's why some agents and some brokers don't always position us first because they think we're still in that old captive model.
Okay.
And what I would tell you, and again, some people would disagree with me, but a reason why a company might stay captive long term is they don't believe in their product.
Yeah.
And 5 years ago, we believed in our product. We believed in our offering. And so we made that transition from being captive to being fully independent. And so now agents nationwide can position us and position every other carrier.
So glad that y'all made that move,
Yeah.
because I mean, from what I can see, everyone, we had a training last Friday, I think, on y'all's products, and it was dynamite. It's like, Robert, I got to get you on the show. Let's talk about this and dial that in. You given us some background on you. Let's talk about Physicians Mutual, the
Yeah.
company.
Yeah.
We can talk about some product mix and all that, but more than anything, give us some history on Physicians Mutual. There's a lot of insurance companies that have been around forever
Yeah.
and nobody's heard of. And
Yes.
y'all could absolutely be one of those scenarios. Let's dive into that.
Yeah, so we absolutely are. So we're a company that got started in 1902. So we've been around over 100 years in the insurance space. Definitely our product offerings have changed over the years. Something that we've really are built upon right now is the Medicare space.
Okay.
So we were one of the initial companies that when Medicare supplements were created, we moved into the market, which I think is really important both for agents and clients to understand. I'm a big believer that you should work with a company that I would call a legacy company in the Medicare space, meaning that they've been at long term. And so, a few interesting things about Physicians Mutual. So, number one, we're an A plus rated company,
Okay.
not only with your AM Bests of the world, but also another rating company I'm a huge fan of is called Weiss Ratings.
Yeah.
And Weiss Ratings are interesting because directly on their website, they will tell you this: we do not take money from insurance companies or individuals for a rating. So I don't know what that means about other rating companies,
Yeah.
but they really try to stand out. And that's one where you can go and you see more of a distinction because so many companies tout, I'm an A, I'm an A, I'm an A. You go to Weiss ratings, you're going to see a little bit more disruption when it comes to the
Oh, yeah, I'm
ratings.
sure.
So we have an A plus rated company. We have a 95% customer satisfaction score. And that's really important. And part of the reason for that is when you call us, if you're a client, you call Physicians Mutual,
Yeah.
you're calling someone in the United States.
That's
You're not
huge.
calling across and some of the biggest insurance carriers in the industry, when you pick up the phone and call them, you're not talking to an American.
And listen, sometimes let's process that a little bit. The call centers. I think you bring up a great point off of that. Some of the carriers we do a lot of business with, it's overseas call centers, and I will tell you, you get some really sharp people.
Yeah,
Depends on the time of day.
yeah,
Sometimes when you call, and we get some support, and then sometimes it's just lagging. And God bless our clients. Sometimes they get a little frustrated with that. So that's a huge breath of fresh air with a domestic call center. Again, nothing against the overseas call centers, but I think it's nice to have a domestic call center and to dial in your concerns,
yeah.
here stateside
Definitely,
off of that
definitely.
as well.
You want someone when you call them and they say their name is Jan, for their name to actually be
Be Jan.
Jan. That's a nice thing to
I
have.
love that.
And that's why Forbes magazine puts us in the top insurance companies in 2026. We have that reputation, we have that background and that financial strength. And I think that's why we are just seeing massive growth right now in the marketplace.
So when was it? 1905.
Yeah.
Okay, so early 1900s, the company starts. I think my history books, we've been through a few world wars,
Yeah.
some natural disasters, some epidemics, pandemics, and all that,
Mhm.
and you guys are still standing.
Yeah, and part of the reason for that, again, we're Physicians Mutual. So what does that mean?
Mutual
We're a
company.
mutual company. The people that own our company is not someone that's just looking at a ticker on a stock
Mhm.
portfolio, but our owner of our company is actually our consumers and our clients. And so we're not going to make decisions based on a stock price because I've seen companies and been a part of companies that have a record breaking year. And instead of taking that money and putting it maybe into new technology for consumers or putting into benefits, just go and buy their own stock
Yeah.
to make their stock go up higher.
No, that's become a trend, no
Yeah.
doubt about that. Very cool. So we got some context on you, Robert. We got some context on Physician Mutual. Let's talk about products.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Let's give the audience an idea of the product portfolio of Physicians Mutual, just so they know. Hey, Justin, I heard y'all talking about this. Let's talk about it, and they
Yeah.
can reach out to
Yeah,
us.
definitely. So, what I would tell you that really our product portfolio is built on one thing, and that would be Medicare supplements.
Okay.
We've been in the Medicare supplement space since the beginning. And here's the thing, there are plenty of carriers that offer Medicare supplements, and they all offer the same standardized plans, A through N. What's special about Physicians Mutual is we want to be innovative. So, we actually have a patented Medicare supplement that allows clients to lock in a discount for life on Plan G benefits. And to put it in perspective, a Plan G is going to be the best Medicare supplement you can buy
Hands
that's
down.
going to offer you the best benefits. We're a company that's going to offer you that plan in a patented way that's going to give you that discount for life.
That's what intrigued me on last week's training,
Yeah.
because we do a lot of Medicare supplements. We're one of those few companies, I think. Hopefully, we're not the only ones, but we try to show, hey, Medicare Advantage, Medicare supplement. Let's look at the options.
Yeah.
You have two options,
Yeah.
other than just going flat out Medicare A and B only.
Yeah.
But I love what you guys are doing. I think there's going to be some exceptional value that existing and future clients, when we do their Medicare reviews
Yeah.
coming up this fall, or those that are aging in that reach out to us to align with. So the Med Sup is the key, but y'all also have dental, life, annuity platforms as well.
Yeah, so our product offering would be Medicare supplements. We have a dental plan, and again, we want to be innovative. So we have a dental plan with no annual max, and I can go into the specifics on that. We have a brand new life product that we launched last week that I think, again, is innovative. We're doing things with this life product that you're not going to get through any other carrier that's very critical to the 55 plus community. And then we offer some other products. We even have pet insurance
No kidding. I didn't
direct to
realize that.
consumer if you need some pet
I'm a
insurance,
crazy dog owner,
there
so
you
we're one
go.
of
Look
those.
us up. Yeah. Yeah.
We will definitely have that'll be a dinner topic with my
Yeah.
wife and I tonight on the pet support there. Okay, cool. So we got a robust portfolio, long lasting company off of that as well. I guess on the life insurance side, what products you kind of teased us a little bit. How would they fit that pre 65, pre Medicare benefit? Can you tease us with that a little
Yeah. So let's talk about it because that product just went live last week, our new life product. We're calling it the Secure Essentials Life Insurance Plan. And what's really special about this plan is we've built it around the 55 plus community. And so, what I think has changed in the community, if you looked 30 years ago, about 20% of retirees walking into retirement already they were gonna still be paying on their mortgage. Now 47% of retirees are still paying on their mortgage. About 12% believe they'll never pay it off. And then there's, 23% of them that will pay it off in the next 8 years.
bit?
And so the reason I say that is as an agent looking at, let's say, the retirement market, it's been very whole life focused.
Yeah.
And I believe in whole life. And I think someone needs permanent protection, okay? But at the same time, we've kind of put term insurance over to the side for anyone that's 55 plus.
Yeah.
So this new product will do something that's really special. The base of this product will be whole life,
Okay.
and we can range from $15,000 in coverage to
Got it.
$100,000 in coverage, which there's very few other carriers doing 100,000 in the
Yeah.
simplified whole life. There's
You're right.
there's two, right? And so we'll be the third, and we'll have a better price point than the other two. So we have that. And then within the same simplified application, what we can do is we can add a term rider. That rider can start at a 5-year term, a 10-year term, a 15, all the way up to 20 years. And we can range from 15,000 to 200,000. So we have this thing, and I don't know if Physicians Mutual is calling it, but I'm calling it perm term.
Yeah.
So you have this ability to
We call it
blend.
blended options.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we're one of the only ones in the simplified whole life space doing it. It's very popular in the IUL
Mhm.
space, and some fully underwritten products, but in the simplified issue, I think we're one of the only carriers doing it.
Very excited about that.
Yeah.
I'll be talking to Chris on getting that lined up with our Palmetto Life Group agency as well. Um, what else did I want to talk about? We're seeing a massive disruption right now. Big surprise. ACA enrollments projected to drop. 5 million. Medigap premiums are surging. Health systems are exiting the business, and some of these are articles that we're going to talk about in a minute from your seat with the 5 years that you've put in with Physicians Mutual, which would have put you, in that COVID era off of that. What do you see as far as, the outlook? And I'm an optimist, but don't get me wrong. I think there's some storms coming off of that as well. I'd love to get your take on, your crystal ball, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah, so I think a couple things happen. You bring up 2020. I think it created this weird storm that took things out of control. And so in 2020, 2021, claims were massively down. Usage was massively down. You had insurance companies having to find ways to give money back to consumers because just nobody was going to the doctor.
Yeah.
And then you have the flip where usage rates go skyrockets, claims go through the roof. And so there's a couple of reasons for that. And again, if you sell Medicare supplements or you own a Medicare supplement, you might over the past 2 years notice rate increases that are higher than you've ever seen before. And so then the question is why? And so there's a couple of things. First one, let's tie it into ACA. I do think that we've seen ACA plans and even group insurance. The max out of pockets are not going down,
No, they're not.
they're going up. And so you have that consumer that's 63 that needs shoulder surgery or they need back surgery. And they're like, should I get it now or should I wait till I get onto Medicare? And so you have a lot of people waiting to get onto a Medicare supplement because of what's happening in the ACA
Yeah.
market, which sends claims through the roof for people that are
That's
65
a great
that we
point.
wouldn't expect. The second thing would be fraud. And so I think this is important. Understanding that fraud is everywhere, fraud's in the news all the time in multiple states.
They've been cracking down.
They have
Big stories coming in.
big stories, and there's massive stories in the Medicare space. We're talking about billions, not millions.
Yeah.
And so there's something that Dr. Oz recently did earlier this year. A big part of Medicare fraud is through medical devices and supplies. And so back in February, what Dr. Oz said was, what we're going to do is we're going to do a 6-month moratorium on new medical supplies and device companies opening. The reason being is that Medicare's number one problem is they pay first and ask questions later.
Yeah.
And so by the time they find out that they've already paid claims and they find out that it's fraud, then they go in and close the company down. Well, what does that company do? Again, these people are criminals. So what are they going to do? They're
Open
just going to
another one.
close shop and open another one. So I think there was some fear with what Dr. Oz did, which was like, we're stopping medical device supply. No, we're stopping new companies to try to solve some of this fraud. And then the third, and this is a big one, is just medical inflation is through the roof. I
Mhm.
mean, we've seen it double. And so, when you have a Medicare supplement where Medicare is paying 80 and your Medigap policy is paying 20, physicians alone last year caught $12 million dollars in fraud. That means again, that's Medicare paid 80%. Our 20% was 12 million.
Wow.
And again, we're a company that is blasting off right now in sales, but if we caught 12 million, think about the juggernaut,
Oh, yeah.
United Healthcare. So those are multiple factors, and I think some of them are slowly being solved. Now, I think we have a solution for this problem that no one else has, and
Okay.
that is key. If you want a Medicare supplement where long term, I believe you're going to see lower rate increases, Physicians Mutuals is where it's at. And the reason being, I talked about that patented Medicare supplement.
Yeah.
We call it the Innovative G. Most Medigap plans, Gs, in Texas, like there was a major company last year in the space. United Healthcare is number one. This company is probably number two in the space.
Yeah.
Their loss ratio on their G was 120%.
Wow.
And so if you're mad at the company for raising your rate, well, they were losing money. They were bleeding
So
money.
just for perspective, 120% loss ratio, a healthy plan, 60, 70%.
Yeah.
These guys are clocking in at 120.
Yeah.
So
And in Medicare supplements, we've always been in the 70s, maybe 80s, but 120? This new product, it's not new. We've been selling it since 2008, this Innovative G. The loss ratio on it is between 45 to 55%. About 60% of all of our Medicare supplement sales right now are Innovative G. So we have a solution that no other med sup carrier has. And so I think selling the product does a couple things. It helps your clients lock in a lower rate for life. It helps the agent really stand out in the marketplace by having a patented plan. And it also helps the future of Medicare supplement rate increases for those clients.
So the Innovative Plan G, I'm going to do a little plug here for Texas State Insurance Services. We would love to visit with you regarding that. And correct me if I'm wrong, Robert. We can look at supplements year round.
Yeah.
I mean, so it might make sense. And I will tell you, I have hundreds of clients. I won't name the carrier, but we saw rate increases, and everybody had something to say. And I totally understand, and I think you should expect rates to increase gradually. You're getting a year older, but at the same time, if you need a help with a Medicare review or quote, give us a call at 210-880-5316, or visit us online at txstateinsurance.com, and we would love to look at and quote the Innovative Plan G from Physicians Mutual and dive into that for you. And I think there's some value there. That's why I was so adamant on Robert. Hey, I mean, at some point I got to get him on the show, and we're talking about that. I am very excited because a lot of times I have to give bad news to especially I had a group enrollment early this morning, and we were able to persevere with a group renewal that was manageable. But a lot of times we're having to scale back benefits. We're having to raise or increase deductibles just to get the premium to be manageable, not only for the employee, but for the company that's helping subsidize those premiums for those employees. So whenever we get good news, exceptional projects, man, we try to run with it because it gets us pumped up because it's been a challenging industry, probably for let's call it 36 months. And I think we're going to see some more disruption and corrections. Maybe not necessarily a reset, but just some offsetting in the years to come. So I brought this up, I think, on the last show. Just be proactive. Reach out to us now. Doesn't necessarily need to be this fall, and let's take a look at that supplement option because I
Yeah.
think it could be a good situation for the clients, everybody out there. Just as a reminder, you're listening to the Mad Insurance Show, making a difference in insurance. I'm your host, Justin Holland. We are talking everything insurance. I got a special guest that's joined me today with Physicians Mutual. His name is Robert Davis. We're hitting it off pretty good and really excited about the relationship that we're having with them. And we've just kind of gotten some background on Robert, the company, products, and some of the industry trend that we're looking at. But I want to wrap up with one more question before we dive into some articles and some of the details that I wanted to kind of banter back and forth with you on. Um, Looking out to the next 2 to 3 years, the supplemental insurance market specifically, and you touched a little bit on this. What do you think the biggest opportunity is for the consumer, to consider on that, over on how the next few years play out?
Yeah. So I do think things are going to get better and not worse. I think I've almost been calling it a COVID hangover.
Yeah.
And again, I think we're getting further and further away from 2020, which I think will help everything. I also see really positive legislation around taking care of those issues like we've talked about around fraud in Medicare. And then hopefully they're taking care of a lot of fraud in a lot of different areas. I also think that carriers, our number one focus is helping our consumer.
Hmm.
And I think we're going to roll out newer products that are going to be stable. And that's our focus moving forward. And I've seen that not only from Physicians Mutual, but other companies in my space that definitely our goal moving forward is helping clients find stability in their choices, but also broaden out their coverage. Because I think so often as agents, sometimes we just see that one problem. And
Yeah.
so many clients entering into retirement, here's my goal for them. I want them to have same or better benefits in retirement than they did in their working years. And that's where we start looking at some of those secondary products away from just your health insurance, but things like dental, life, and other products like long term care.
Just something just popped in my head that I want to remind the audience of. When you've got good kick butt insurance in place, and you've got that either prior or you're able to thankfully get it after you get some serious news, medically, the C word for cancer, special needs children, you got to get over to MD Anderson for whatever reason. Where I'm going with this is when you have the right health insurance in place, and it can be empowering. I see that for so many of my clients when they're having to deal with some serious medical stuff.
Mm,
And I get to tell them, it's like, hey, you're in a good spot. You got the Cadillac plan. You're
yeah.
you're 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 in a good shop. Go fight this thing. Don't worry about, the medical bills or the network. Man, that gets fun. That charges my batteries
Yeah.
too
Yeah.
when we're able to provide that value because a lot of individuals are just not prepared or they
Mm,
just don't know what they don't know.
yeah.
So I am with you. I'm optimistic on that. I think some of the Medicare, specifically on the Medicare Advantage, I think we'll see some tightening up
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah.
And it might not be about, hey, I get my gift card or my gym membership. It's going to be about doctors networks and making people
Yeah.
healthy in those
Yeah.
dynamics as well.
Well, I think what we saw just a few months ago, there was this fear because the way Medicare Advantage plans work is your Part B premium will go to the Medicare Advantage
Hmm.
company. Plus, there's also a reimbursement amount that the federal government pays. In the past, that rate used to be 7%.
Hmm.
We kind of had a scare at the beginning of this
Oh yeah,
year
we did.
where it was no, the reimbursement's going to be 0.09. And then we had these cheers when it was 2%. It was
Yeah,
almost like they kinda scared us a little bit to just
yeah,
give us 2% would have sounded bad if we started with that. But
agreed.
and so I think you're totally right. I think on the MA side, I think we'll continue to see more plan exits. I think we're gonna continue to see some of those secondary benefits going away,
Hmm.
which the sad thing is that's usually the leading reason why someone gets a Medicare Advantage. It's because of those secondary benefits.
A lot of the time
The
it is. Yeah.
dental, the
Well, a lot
cards.
of times they were sold that. It might necessarily been. I hate to be critical, but that is it's medical insurance.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's your medical side,
Yeah.
your pharmaceutical side
Yeah.
off of that as well. You bring up a great point. That was quite a scare. I
Yeah.
mean, okay, 0.9% or whatever it was below one, ultimately. And because the carriers were expecting, oh, maybe 6, 8, maybe double digit.
Mhm.
And then they slapped them with that. And then even coming back at a 2, 3% increase, that's still not enough.
No.
I mean, with medical inflation,
No.
that's why I think, and I keep on preaching this, make sure you visit with us or your agent soon. We'd love to be your agent if you're looking at making a change. I think preparing now and having a game plan. So when we do see what changes or anticipate what could change, we're in a good position
Yeah. Yeah.
because we only have a finite amount of time
Mhm.
to be able to make those
Yeah.
adjustments and changes off of that. Very cool. I think we're wrapped up on talking about Physicians Mutual, getting some background on you.
Mhm.
I think we dive in to some of the great articles that I found online. I try to make sure these are the most current that I can get. Some of these were from last week, and some as soon as last night. I sent Robert a revised agenda with an update on some of the articles that I want to talk about. Before we dive into that, just want to make sure I get some show identification. You're listening to the Mad Insurance Show, making a difference in insurance. I'm your host, Justin Holland with Texas State Insurance Services and Palmetto Life Group. Got Physicians Mutual here joining us on today's show as a guest, and we're going to talk about probably wrap up on his product portfolio again one more time before we wrap up the show. But we're going to dial in some articles here. I want to make sure I get that phone number out to everybody as well. Remember, anything health insurance, Medicare, employee benefits, that's Texas State Insurance Services, 210-880-5316 or txstateinsurance.com. Anything you need on life insurance, retirement options, social security analysis, we can do a no nonsense analysis and help you heat map your social security strategy as well as long term care insurance planning as it relates to retirement. And then the auto, home, and commercial lines, give us a call at 877 357 5316, or you can visit palmettolifegroup.com. We've got those 2 agencies, 4 locations serving San Antonio, actually 1 in the Rio Grande Valley. We try to be as accommodating as we can, and you give us a call, you'll talk to Eric or Lydia at the office, and we'll schedule an appointment, and, that appointment will be with me. You're gonna be dealing directly with me. I have my hand on every policy and account that we take care of. It's crazy, but, I wanna make sure that we're on top of everybody there. So the first article that we're going to talk about is a PBS News article that I found regarding ACA enrollment projected to plunge by 5 million as costs spike. So, Robert, I will tell you, you know, more than ever, and it's starting to get a little bit scarier now because I'm getting more of those phone calls to the office. Hey, Justin, I tried to keep this marketplace plan as long as I could. I'm going to have to terminate it. Okay. And I'm like, are you absolutely positive? Because I can't get you in to that plan again if that's the case. And why that is so critical on, this 5 million plunge is I'm seeing it real time here in San Antonio in our backyard. And the problem is we have some alternative options. I've got some health coverage options, not health insurance, health coverage. They're just not able to qualify. So, with pre-X conditions not being an issue on ACA in some small groups, we've got some flexibility there. But a lot of people are going without insurance, and I'm really concerned. We were talking a little bit about politics a minute ago. I'm shocked that the current administration isn't trying to at least bridge some type of gap there. Give me your take on what we're seeing with this news because it's a sobering update
Yes.
again.
Yeah. And so I think, the way that I look at this is that we've kind of put ourselves in a situation where when the ACA market started, there were plenty of great plans in the marketplace that just went away because everyone was driven to ACA.
Yeah.
And it almost created more restrictions than I think it
Vacuum.
really needed to. And I think, with any major legislation, there's always a fear factor that is pushing that legislation. And I think the biggest thing that needs to happen is we need to have more plans, not less. We
Mhm.
need to be able to open up these alternative plans, which we try to phrase them the right way. They're alternative. No, they need to be the same. Like they need to be plans that are their health insurance.
Yeah.
And we need to alleviate some of those restrictions right now.
And some of those individuals are happy to pay extremely high deductibles and maximums. Say, "Hey, I
Mm,
need this for catastrophic,"
mhm,
but they're struggling. I mean, I had one. I'll give you one example. Just yesterday,
mhm,
small group plan, 2-person group. Okay, they are going to save $20,000 a year for me getting them off the group plan and putting them on a coverage option.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
that is a lot of money,
mhm,
because it's ACA age ratings,
mhm,
and I man that middle class got crushed because we gave the middle class a taste for 24 plus months of a stipend, and
mhm,
I'm talking middle class 90,000 to 100, even no, I'm sorry, a couple $100,000 depending on family size,
yeah,
and they had maybe not affordable premiums, but reasonable enough that they could manage.
yeah,
And those premiums went from $200 to $1,000, or, $1,500 to three to $4,000. So, again, I want to call out both sides of the aisle. I hope, man, come on.
yeah,
You're going to have an issue with this, and I know you and I discussed this, and I don't know if you remember, you knew the stat before I brought it up earlier. 31 to 33% is what the Kaiser Foundation is saying is the percentage of people making their vote based on health insurance
yes,
and healthcare
yeah,
cost, not food, not gasoline,
yeah.
which are whole nother options depending on where you live. You know, that's one of those storms I see that is coming.
And here's what I would challenge consumers to do. And this might sound bad. I don't think your savior is waiting for the government to do anything.
That's a great point.
And I think that as a consumer, you need to find an agent, you need to find an advocate in the healthcare world because I'm just a big believer that most people within our government don't actually understand this industry. So you need to find someone that does. And so many agents now can help you kind of create a package when it comes to looking at things like hospital indemnity, looking at things like cancer, making sure you have something.
Yeah.
You need to have something especially with the fear of something catastrophic happening.
We are living healthier lives for many people, but we're not necessarily we're living longer lives, but we're not necessarily living healthier lives. And I think that catches people by surprise.
Yeah.
Goes into that long term care situation as well. So PBS News, giving us a heads up that 5 million plunge in projected enrollment. So that's a lot of people.
Mm.
And that's a lot of people coming out of a risk and premium pool for those plans. So no doubt that's going to play a factor into 2027. And by the way, everybody, just a reminder, we're almost wrapped up with May. We are almost 6 months into the year already. So the end of this year going to 2027 is going to be here before you know it. Actually, I brought up KFF, Kaiser Foundation. What we know so far about 2026 marketplace enrollments, premiums, and deductibles, early CMS state marketplace data confirms the impact. So we were talking about more about premium right now, but the average marketplace deductible grew from 1,000 per person in 2026 to a record single year deductible of more than double that. So that's again where you brought it up a minute ago. Be innovative, talk to your agent. Let's come up with a strategy because there could be another product that could complement and take on, if not all or the majority of these deductibles and maximums that we're facing
Yeah.
on these plans
Yeah.
because they are increasing.
Yeah.
I mean, we're seeing deductibles, 4,000, uh, 10,000 for family. It's a lot of money, and when you've got individuals that are having to pay that premium, then meet a deductible, God forbid something happens, and then the maximum, that's gonna be tough. So that was kind of a redundant topic on the ACA. I had one more article too, from NPR on their talking points, Robert. The enhanced subsidies expired, millions in lower income Americans face sticker shock. Again, all these articles are coming out because it's getting noisier because a lot of more people are feeling it. And we called this back in January.
Yeah.
I said, we're going to start seeing some disruption here. We are no doubt seeing it. Didn't need a crystal ball to know that. But any input on that? I mean, just the fact that, I mean, do you think that's going to get better? I mean, you want to, you want to, we're subject to the Affordable Care Act law.
Yeah.
That is all encompassing. A lot of people say, oh, I don't want Obamacare ACA. Well, it's a law, so it's encompassing of your group benefits, your Medicare, your
Mm.
ACA, all of that.
Mhm.
One more, you know, I know you want to be optimistic. What do you think on that?
Yeah, so the interesting thing is you have that legislation, and then you also have the Affordable Health Care Act,
Yeah,
which is really creating a problem when it comes to prescription drug plans. Because so many plans on a group side here soon will not meet the minimum requirement for prescriptions.
and they've
So
given them a pass 2 years in a
2
row.
years. So
Yeah,
we'll see if it happens again. And so I think we need massive legislation to take place to make changes. The hard thing that I look at it is I don't think either side has enough political capital to make a change, which
that's a great point.
is kind of a fear coming into it. But I think again, to just be optimistic, is that I think a lot of these concerns can be solved if you're working with the right people.
Agreed.
Um, because and I feel so bad for people because no one likes the idea to be given something and then it be taken away.
Have it
And I
taken.
think that's what's happened with the ACA. And usually as a government, we don't do that. We think about so many big federal programs that once they're in, and they're not going anywhere. But for some reason, health insurance, and that's why so many people are going to be voting based on the plan around health insurance.
The Becker's Willamette Weekly brought up the exodus of health system owned insurance plans. Okay. And I saw Providence Health just a few days ago. That was one of the breaking articles I saw. Did you see that as
Yeah.
well? I was surprised. I mean, I thought they were pretty sound, and they have a presence in South Texas.
Mhm.
Not all over Texas, but in South Texas, I saw them quite a bit. But Providence Health is exited. Baylor Scott and White. You've got Molina. These are companies that are providing health care and the insurance coming out as well. You know, the providers are shutting down most of their insurance products by the end of the year. Some of them are doing it ahead of schedule, and some of them are phasing it out. Give me some input on where you stand on that, because I I'm hoping we see the end of it, but I think we're just getting started
I
on
think
that.
we're just getting started. Yeah. And I think definitely, I think there will be other companies that step in. You're going to have some companies like Humana and United Healthcare that will just pick up market share
Yeah.
when it comes to that. But it also then bleeds into the Medicare side of we saw massive plan exits last year from providers. And I think with that, you're going to have more people that need to find some secondary option. And the question is where to put them next. And again, goes back to what we've said, that's why it's so important to work with someone that can point you in the right direction next.
So let's process that a little bit because with these plan exits or these absolute carrier exits,
Yeah.
those plans go away.
Mhm.
And if your plan goes away, you have a special enrollment opportunity to get into a medical supplement plan.
Yeah.
And we did that for a handful of clients this past fall,
Mhm.
more than I've ever seen, before because
Mhm.
of some plan exits. And that was a lifeline,
Yeah.
to a lot of I had one client said, "Hey, Justin, this has saved me thousands of dollars with some medical stuff that
Yeah.
came up that I would have had exposure on that PPO, advantage plan." So, I think we got an opportunity with a special enrollment opportunities to get people into a physician's mutual product.
We do. We do. Now, just talking from a carrier perspective on this. So I think there's a way of looking at it that this creates an opportunity for the carrier,
Hmm.
right? So we have these massive plan exits. People receive, to your point, a guaranteed issue right, and now they can go to another MA or they can go to a Medicare supplement.
Correct.
But with all, for everything that looks positive, there's also a negative. And so usually with a Medicare supplement, when you turn 65, you're open enrollment, which means a guaranteed issue, but really you would call that open enrollment.
Correct.
And then later on, if you want to change Medicare supplements, there's underwriting. You're going to go through some health questions.
Yeah.
Why is that? Like, why do we do that? Because we have to be careful on the type of risk we take. Okay. And so usually people can't just swap from one to another. Good examples in many states like California, Virginia, they have what's called a birthday rule,
Yeah.
or Missouri's an
That came
anniversary
out about a
rule.
year ago, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. Virginia came out last year. California, Missouri, they've been doing it for a while.
Let's give the listener an idea what the birthday rule is in
Yeah.
case it
So
happens in
that's,
Texas.
and it could. It's come up in, I think, 12 different states last year brought it up, half past. And so what it means is if you purchase a Medicare supplement, every year on your birthday, you can change to a different carrier without underwriting, which that sounds amazing. But here's the downside. And this is the downside. And again, I feel like I'm popping around to different things. There was legislation that came out last year, about October,
Mhm.
around if you have ALS or end stage renal and you're under
Right.
65, right? And that sounds great that med sub carriers are going to have to take them in and give them any plan that they want.
That's going to disrupt your risk factors.
It's gonna massively disrupt. So, yes, it helps those few, but if you're currently on a Medicare supplement, you're gonna see rates start to increase. And so all these plan exits with these GIs, it sounds great, but that can affect everyone else.
That's a great
And
point.
so there's always a cause and effect. And so I think it's important kind of more talking to the agents at this point and brokers. My suggestion when it comes to GI rights, helping someone get a Medicare supplement is if you put all of that business with one carrier, what are you going to do to that carrier? You're going to sink that carrier.
Yeah.
There's a company that last year, when this whole change took place, many companies, because we're trying to minimize risk because we care about you who are currently on our portfolio,
Yeah.
we dropped how much we would pay an agent. And almost every carrier did this. We dropped how much we would pay an agent if they brought us GI Medicare supplement business. One carrier said, "No, we will pay you full commission." I've never had an agent call me. Again, I'm working for this carrier. I'm working for Physicians Mutual. Call me saying, "Hey, I want to give you business." And me say, "You can, but you could also give it to that guy over
Yeah.
there." And I will tell you that this one carrier so far this year in multiple states has seen 30 to 40% rate increases.
Wow.
And so again, there's a cause and effect. And so these plan exits are creating massive disruption that's going to negatively affect our
That's a great
market.
point.
And so again, we're hoping, I know you're about to hopefully bring on some people to talk about, that are in government right now. Question or people that are running, we got to have a solution.
Yeah.
And we need a solution sooner than later.
And I think they can win based on that topic and spearhead that,
Yeah.
and then really make a difference
Yeah.
and change. Man, great point on the fact of that risk factor and saying it could be good at first, but collectively it could come back and bite us
Yeah.
in the future. So Kaiser Foundation, also article I found from them was a leap in consumer having fewer alternatives on those Medicare supplements. I think this is a good segue because millions of Medicare beneficiaries rely on the Medigap. They rely on their Medicare supplement plans. We've been talking about Plan G pretty much for the show, but premiums are surging. This connects directly to today's guest with Robert and what are some of the value adds that we've got with y'all supplement plan that I think we might not have addressed or talked about?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. And let me take it two different directions because I think there's a really important point to make here. So, some of the value adds that we have, so we have our patented plan that we already talked about before. We here in Texas have Silver and Fit built into our Medicare supplement premium. So you can
That's
buy a
right.
Medicare supplement and get Silver and Fit. Just think of it like a free gym membership. LA Fitness, 24-hour fitness, Planet Fitness, which you get free pizza if you're part of that gym. You get those gyms at no cost, which is a cool benefit. But what's really special about our plan is if when you think about original Medicare, there are certain things that original Medicare won't cover when it comes to preventive benefits, like a true annual physical is not covered by original Medicare. We will cover it at 100%. And I think that's where if a doctor chooses to code something preventive and you have a physician's mutual Medicare supplement, you know it's going to be paid for. And no other carrier in the space has that.
That's a great.
But to your point with the article, what I will tell you is that last year we had about 6 different companies. Either they stopped selling a specific plan or they got out of the market altogether. And again, I don't like to talk about active companies, so let's talk about non-active companies. Allstate was a great option for about 2 years in the
Yeah.
Medicare supplement space. I know agents that was a main piece of their portfolio was selling Allstate. Allstate was in the market and then they were out of the market. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Number one, you just want to be careful to not work with a legacy company, a company that's new to the space.
Yeah.
The second thing is what agents will do, and I totally understand it because when I look up MedSups, you know how I rank them? I rank them based on price,
Yeah.
which is totally understandable. I think the consumer wants them
Especially
ranked
when you
on
got
price.
35, 40
Yeah,
options.
yeah. But the problem is, out of those 6 companies that left the market, they were the cheapest companies in the state of
Got it.
Texas. And so, again, don't just think about the price of today. Think about the price that you're gonna be paying 6 years from now. Because if you're a consumer that wants a Medicare supplement, it's because you want freedom and flexibility. If you get diagnosed with the C word, I think you called it,
Yeah.
cancer, and you wanna go to MD Anderson, you're not going to be able to do that with any MA plan. It's
No.
only gonna be a Med Sup. And so you don't just want the Med Sup at 65, you want it at 68, you want it at 69. So get a plan that will be stable long term, which means not always picking the cheapest, and number 2, not picking a company that's brand new to the market.
So Allstate, established long-term
Yeah,
insurance company. That's a great example. I'll give you one because there's no longer offering Manhattan Life.
yeah,
We did a lot of business with them
yeah,
pre-COVID and into COVID, and then and we've looked at other carriers. They exited
mhm,
and just said, "Hey, we're going to stop now."
yeah, and the important thing is, why is that a bad thing? Because I think maybe even agents and consumers don't understand that. So if you think about it, we have a risk pool. You have a book of business with all these consumers in it. Part of the way we keep price down is by putting more people in it, right?
Yeah,
So when you have this plan exit, or you have a company say, "We're no longer gonna sell Medicare supplements," okay, there's no new people going in the pool. And so definitely we've seen higher rate increases in general, but those companies that close where clients are still with Allstate or Manhattan Life, I mean, I started my career 12 years ago getting in the industry with Aflac. Aflac 12 years ago had a Medicare supplement and they had it in the market and then they're out of the market. Now they're back in the market. Again, maybe they're going to be here long term.
yeah.
But I would focus on legacy companies.
It's funny how we see some of the in this Medicare supplement. You know, you got carriers that have gone to the market and then get out of the market. The ACA, we saw that. You
Mhm,
know, Aetna and United were in it. They exited and then they got back.
mhm.
It's exhausting
Yeah. Yeah.
sometimes to keep up with the carriers, but that is the important reason why we've got the Mad Insurance Show, making a difference in insurance because we're talking about this.
Mm.
we're reminding you, the listener, or you watching online, about being proactive, visiting with us regarding your health insurance, life insurance, auto, home, you name it, employee benefits if you're running a business or have employee benefits offering. There's a lot to process and unpack. And I will let you know, we pride ourselves on being full service, on helping on everything. We're very familiar with Medicare and individual health insurance and coverage alternatives, travel insurance, employee benefits, and that's employee benefits for a two-person employee group, 50 people, 5,000. Okay, we've got great consultants and channel partnerships to be able to assess everything you need, because there's a lot of compliance to go on with that too that you got to make sure that you're on top of. But be proactive. That's ultimately what I'm trying to say for the show. And that's why we've got the show, the Mad Insurance Show, to discuss about all the stuff that nobody's talking about.
Yeah.
And I love getting phone calls from our listeners saying, "Hey, Justin, I heard you talking about this. Is that true? Or I'm hearing this." And so we're getting our reach out there. So I cannot thank you enough for listening to us. As a reminder, we've got Robert Davis with Physicians Mutual, and I'm going to have Robert wrap up and just kind of recap, his position, the company and products that we have access to help our consumers and these individuals listening to the show. Let's wrap up with that if you're cool
Yeah,
with that.
yeah, definitely. So I'd love to take this time. So I think we've done a good job kind of painting the picture, the fact that we're built on Medicare supplements. We're so excited about this new life product because I think it's so distinct for this 55 plus community. But the one thing that we probably haven't talked about, and the great thing about this product, it will not only help that Medicare client, but also that client that's on ACA, is that we probably have one of the best dental plans on the market. And again, dental is something that it will affect your health. If you have poor dental coverage, if you don't go see the dentist, that's not only going to affect your teeth, but it's also going to affect your overall
It's your
health.
mouth. It's
Yeah,
where
it's
your
it's
health
everything.
begins if you think
And
about it.
so, we've pride ourselves. We've been in the dental insurance market for a long time. And so I believe I say it all the time, we have the best dental plan in America. And part of it's because I work for Physicians Mutual, but I actually truly believe it. And so a couple things that are so distinct about our plan is number one, there's no deductible, which is important for the consumer.
It's huge.
They don't want to feel like they have a roadblock before they go to the dentist.
Yeah.
The second thing, and this is the thing that stands out to agents, and if the consumer has a background of understanding dental insurance, this stands out.
Okay.
We have no annual max, which to paint the picture, usually the way dental insurance works is they're going to pay a percentage of preventive, basic, and major,
Hmm.
and they're going to pay based on a percentage. And then there will be an annual max. So you might buy a plan, it looks great. They're going to pay 50%, maybe they're going to pay 60%, but you find out once you need those 5 root canals done that there's a $1,500 annual max.
Yeah.
And then here's the thing.
If that.
Yeah, I would say be nice to your agent. What I see a lot is that the consumer, who do they call? They call the agent,
Yeah.
right? And they're like, "Why did you put me on this plan?" And that's why so many agents, and you've probably had agents tell you this as a consumer, like, just self-pay because they don't see very many good plans in the
That
marketplace.
is correct.
So we have a plan. Again, I brought in, I don't know if you can see this. This is Benny the
We can see it
Tooth.
on the video
If
for
you
those watching.
watch, if you watch TV, you're gonna see our commercial. It's something we massively market right now. The number one selling plan for us around dental is what we call our premier plan. We're going to pay 70% on major,
Okay.
70% on basic, and 100% on preventive for in the state of Texas about $59. And so the price point for the benefits is better than most
Hey,
other
that's
dental
reasonable.
plans.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's a very fair plan. I've seen similar plans that are 80 to $100. And the great thing about this plan is it can be sold, especially if you're an agent. Think about this. It can be sold to that ACA client. It can be sold to your Medicare supplement client. It can be sold to your MA client that's signing up for a new plan this year and found out that all their dental benefits are gone. And then, even if they get some dental benefits, we don't coordinate benefits. So they can use their MA dental and our dental at the same time.
And just as a reminder, we can do dental all year long.
Yeah.
So if you're out there listening on the radio, you want a dental insurance quote, or just to help us keep what you got honest, or you might not have anything in place now,
Yeah.
this is the time to reach out to us. Man, I'm glad we're closing in on that, because I
Yeah.
think a lot of people just kind of write off the dental or do the direct pay. We
Yeah.
were like that there were some times in our career with this industry where we were, hey, in some cases, there's just not a good dental plan. we've got a few options. Y'all are absolutely at the top of that list for us to be able to provide and quote for our clients out there. We are going to wrap up the show. And just if you're just now tuning in, you missed a great Mad Insurance show, Making a Difference in Insurance. I'm your host, Justin Holland. Had a great time with Robert Davis of Physicians Mutual. I hope you'd be open to coming back again
Yeah.
as we get towards this year. Maybe once we finally see some of our optimism
Yeah.
pay off in the industry. But we've been talking everything insurance, specifically, Medicare, life, health insurance topics that have come up. As always, I want to make sure you got our phone number for Texas State Insurance Services. It's 210-880-5316, or visit us online at TX State Insurance Services. You can Google Justin Holland Insurance. I mean, we're out there. We got a great presence. Palmetto Life Group's going to help you out with your life, retirement, long-term care, auto and home. That's 877-357-5316 or palmettolifegroup.com. If you're watching us online or plan to watch the rest of the show or prior to the show online, I'm going to have Robert's information on the links, and just reach out to us if you got any questions on what we discussed today. Stay safe out there, San Antonio, and everybody listening online. We'll talk to you next week. Take care, everybody.